How's it going, everyone? Bitcoin is falling. This is the moment of truth. From a technical perspective, this is very important. And it's actually even fundamentally pretty important to see what's going to happen in the next few days. If you don't mind, hit subscribe so you can see future videos just like this. Check this out. Bitcoin down at $112,000 yesterday. Actually broke slightly below it. Now we went down to 112,600. We're seeing around 113,000, but people are worried. People are very worried right now for a variety of reasons, but we just got some data that came in, some ISM data that is causing people to be a little bit cautious today. We're also seeing some of the largest outflows from the Bitcoin and the Ethereum ETFs that we've ever seen, from BlackRock, no less. So this is really a moment of truth. We'll get into what this means, what you should be paying attention to in a moment. If you don't mind, though, just hit subscribe so you can see future videos like this. If you want, you can join the Telegram. I've been posting exclusive videos. I've been posting early access to videos like this one. This one's actually going to go up a few minutes early in the Telegram. So if you want to check it out, it's free, just like the second or third link down below. Telegram's not scary or anything. I just post in there and then you can view it. Also, if you want to trade crypto, there's a link to BYDeFi underneath the video. I think this is one of the best opportunities to start leverage trading when we see a pullback like this, because this is pretty textbook. This is very similar to what we've seen in the past when we saw massive runs afterwards. So if you want to check out BYDeFi, you can check it out underneath the video. Use my link, and then you can get access to these free bonuses. Like you can get up to $10,000 of XRP just for trading. You don't have to click anything. Just use my link, and we constantly run promotions like this, so it just drips free crypto into your account, assuming you hit the expectations or the limit. So there's more on the terms and conditions underneath the video. But let's start here. Bitcoin, obviously falling down a bit from yesterday. We almost went up to $116,000. And this broke slightly above the previous resistance or the previous support at 114,800. We broke slightly above it, but then moved right back down. Right? The majority of support, you can see like 3 or 4 times we saw support right around 115.5 to 116,000 back in this kind of chop consolidation time. And we got rejected right about that level yesterday. Now we came all the way back down to 112.6, and a lot of people are wondering what the heck's happening. Well, first of all, we saw actually some pretty large outflows from the ETFs yesterday. Actually, I say pretty large. They are very large. ETH with one of the largest outflows we've ever seen, $375 million. Coming out. And it's not just ETH, that's a BlackRock ETF, by the way. We saw 465 million in outflows overall. So pretty large outflows there for one day. The spot Bitcoin ETFs also saw $333 million in outflows, led by BlackRock's IBIT ETF, $292 million out. This is one of the largest outflows we've seen for the ETFs. I think this is probably top 2 or 3 largest by IBIT as well. Now, I can speculate on what's happening here, but just this kind of selling pressure does cause the markets to go down. But it's odd because yesterday we actually went up, right? Like this was spot selling throughout the day yesterday, or this was selling by the ETFs, but yet we were going up. Keep in mind that the ETFs use OTC desks. So they might not be actually influencing the price all that much, but when we do see large inflow days from the ETFs, we do see the price move up, right? So there is some correlation for sure. When they're dumping, the price dumps. When they're buying, the price goes up. So it's kind of interesting to see. Yesterday they dumped a lot, and yet the price still moved up throughout the day, which is kind of fascinating. Apparently, there was some big buyer yesterday. Maybe some of the companies are offsetting some of the dumping by the ETFs. Like yesterday, Tom Lee announced that BMNR, which is BitMine, now owns 833,000 Ethereum tokens, valued at $3 billion. They're the largest ETH treasury in the world, the 3rd largest crypto treasury. We also saw that publicly traded SharpLink Gaming buys another 18,680 ETH worth 66.6 million. We also saw a variety of companies like Metaplanet announce that they were buying Bitcoin yesterday too. So there could be some offset there between the companies and maybe even retail traders, which don't typically move around the markets too much, but maybe some retail also kind of leveling out the playing field from the ETFs just dumping hundreds of millions of dollars of Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now from here, the question is, do we go up or do we go down? The liquidation levels show that we are more likely to go up than down. And why do I say that? Well, this map shows you how much will get liquidated at different prices based on different time spans. So on the 1 day, you can see a lot more liquidations would happen up at 117,000 versus 103,000, for example. Like, the fact is, a lot of people will get wiped out if we move to the upside because we have been falling down, right? So a lot of shorts will get liquidated. It's not just on the 1 day, it's also on the 7 day. You can see all the way up to maybe $11 billion, $10 billion of shorts getting liquidated if we go up to new all-time highs. Then the same thing with the 30 day. You can see up to maybe 20 billion or so if we go up to new all-time highs versus just 10 billion if we go down to about 102,000. Now, I think a lot of people would get stopped out around 100,000 or just under 100,000 because a lot of people kind of think that's a line in the sand. We haven't been under there for 90 days or so. So this will be kind of fascinating to watch, but typically the market wipes out traders. And over the next few days, over the next week, over the next month, a lot more people get wiped out to the upside. Now, that doesn't mean that we won't fall down first. We could go down, just break slightly new lows, maybe flip 110,000 into support, wipe out $1 to $2 billion worth of longs, and then move up. Right now, we have liquidated about 117 million just over the last 4 hours. So that's part of the reason I think we have fallen down this morning. But that could change, right? I'm still very bullish, even just like short-term bullish. I'm, of course, long-term bullish, but short-term I'm bullish. Even if we just stay above this like $110,000 mark, of course, that would set a new lower low from yesterday. So I'd rather not see that happen, obviously, but that could still flip the previous resistance into support because we saw resistance right around 110 to 112,000. And if we flip that into support, we could see another leg up. That's what we've seen a handful of times before making new highs. You can see that at 48,000, 49,000. We saw that at 74,000. And now we could be seeing that at 110,000. If we saw a similar move where we go from 74,000 up to 123,000, that was a 63% move. We could be up in the $170,000 range, which sounds crazy right now, but it's possible, right? It's not improbable at the end of the day, especially once the ETFs start buying again, if they go a little bit more risk on. Now, if I'm going to speculate, I'm guessing there's some large hedge fund that kind of got cold feet and sold because BlackRock's IBIT ETF and their ETH ETF rarely ever sell. Like, you can see hundreds of millions of dollars in outflows from other ETFs, and yet IBIT usually has a $0 day. So I think they temper out people's panic. I think they try to protect from seeing outflows. And maybe they have someone that's willing to buy maybe whenever there's an outflow. Like if they're negative 100 million in a day, maybe someone says, okay, I'll pick up that 100 million, or maybe they do it somehow. I'm not exactly sure, but it is odd how many $0 days they have when there are outflows from everyone else. They're exactly $0 on the day. So I'm guessing someone maybe panicked a little bit, just said, Larry, I appreciate what you're doing, but I'm gonna sell all my $300 million worth of Bitcoin, or I'm gonna sell part of it. Or maybe there just wasn't a buyer that day. Maybe that buyer ran out, right? So this could definitely cause the market to fall down if $300 million that normally goes in on a daily basis flows out. So yeah, that if that flips bullish, we could see a lot of upside, especially with some of these liquidations that could be coming down the line. I'm saying this is the moment of truth because from a technical perspective, if we flip this previous resistance into support, it'll be extremely bullish. If we break below it, we could see further liquidations, especially the long liquidations that are betting on this being flipped into support like we've seen in the past. From a fundamental perspective too, if we continue to see IBIT have big outflows, this is probably the biggest driver of the market in the last year and a half. I shouldn't even say probably. This is the biggest driver. The ETFs have been the biggest driver of the price. If they continue to dump for whatever reason, that could cause the price to consistently fall down and flip the narrative to be from bullish to bearish, which I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I'm saying people are going to continue to watch these ETFs pretty religiously, and people might flip bearish if they continue to spit out hundreds of millions of dollars a day. Keep in mind, this still is not a large amount for the BlackRock Bitcoin ETF for them to sell, because they're around $80 billion in assets. So a $300 million day isn't the end of the world for them. That's not even 1% of what they hold. It's like 0.3%. But still, people will be a little bit concerned if they continue to dump hundreds of millions of dollars every single day. Keep in mind, we continue to get good news every day for Bitcoin. Indonesia's vice president's office considers adopting Bitcoin as a national reserve asset. Of course, this is not a guarantee by any means, but there are going to be more countries that adopt the Bitcoin standard or start acquiring Bitcoin. Also, probably a decent time to buy the dip. The average weekly return of buying the dip, typically quite positive. Now, the traditional markets are down a bit today at the time of this recording because of this ISM data. U.S. services sector activity unexpectedly flatlined in July with little change in orders and a further weakening in employment, even as input costs climbed by the most in nearly 3 years. So you can see that the ISM said on Tuesday that its non-manufacturing purchasing managers index, or the PMI, slipped to 50.1 from 50.8 in June. So above 50 indicates growth, with below 50 kind of showing a shrinking. The forecast was 51.5. So slowing of the economy, this is scaring the market a bit. Now, the market has priced in a higher chance at rate cuts. We even saw a Fed official saying yesterday that we could see 3 rate cuts this year. So the market's constantly repricing this, which can definitely move around the markets. But this ISM data did scare the market today, which could cause, it could cause the market to fall down. I think that's really what's driving down the market right now. Now, there is one company that is not down today that has done extremely well. They're up 6.6%, new all-time highs. It's Palantir. Palantir investors, congrats. You've crushed it. Over last year, up 611%. From the bottom, up 2,200%. So obviously, we talk about Bitcoin every day on the channel. We've been buying since the bear market, but even Bitcoin hasn't performed this well. This is like MicroStrategy levels of bear market upside. Let's look at MicroStrategy real quick. From the bottom of the bear market, yeah, almost the exact same percentage. Now, they crushed it yesterday, to be clear. I'm not buying Palantir. I'll explain why, but they crushed it. Revenue is up 48% year over year. Adjusted, it's like 46% adjusted operating margins, up 24% year over year. Customers up 43% year over year. $6 billion in cash. This is crazy. So congrats to everyone that's been in Palantir. I'm not a buyer here. I'm not even holding Palantir directly. But yeah, congrats to everyone that's in it. The reason I'm not buying it is just it is extremely highly valued. Like, let's just pull it up here. It's at a 250 forward PE, a 522 trailing 12 months PE. It's at over 100 price to sales, 112 price to sales. And it's very impressive what they've been able to do, but there is a price, right? There is a price I'm willing to pay for every stock out there. And even growing this quickly, it needs to continue growing 50% a year and still be valued at like a 50 to 60 PE 5 years down the line for it to make any money, because it's at such a high valuation. This is being valued at, well, let's pull up Google. Right? Google's still growing quickly, if we look over the trailing 12 months, not close to how quickly Palantir is growing. It's growing like 13% revenue versus 48. And of course, like net income isn't growing as quickly, but it's growing at 32%. This company is being valued at a 20 forward PE. So it's being valued like you can buy 10 times as much Google, or you can make, let's say you buy $1,000, right, of one of these stocks. Palantir will give you $4 of earnings over the next year. Google will give you $50. So you're literally paying 10 times or 12 times as much for it. So if you assume that Palantir eventually will slow down in their growth, you could see, some pretty negative consequences to the stock price. But I'm still very happy for everyone that's made money. Congratulations, because that is an incredible run. Let me know your thoughts on all this underneath the video. Let me know what you think about Bitcoin at these current levels. I think as long as we hold this $110,000 to $112,000 level, I think it's looking pretty bullish short term. And of course, long term, I am bullish too. We can see bigger pullbacks, right? We saw a 30% pullback from 110,000 down to 74,000. We actually saw 33%. So if we saw a similar pullback here, we would fall down all the way to the high or to the low 80s. So that can happen, to be clear. That can happen. If you're uncomfortable with that, maybe this isn't the asset for you, because it is still volatile and sees big price swings. But honestly, the whole market does at this point. Like the NASDAQ moved 12% up in one day a couple months ago. So right now, the market's a little bit volatile. It doesn't really know how to digest the Trump tariffs, doesn't really know how to digest the economy. So we can see some pretty volatile swings. Let me know your thoughts on this underneath the video. Again, check out the link to BYDeFi. Check out the link to the Telegram as well, in case you want access to videos like this, early or exclusive videos. We also have some special promotions in there with BYDeFi, and if you trade a lot, we can actually give you one-on-one access to someone at BYDeFi. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'll see you all soon.